Hello and welcome to this week's Friday Focus. Myself, Graham Muncie, joined by Steven Lumsden here as we look back on another successful Caledonian Riders Championship, Steven.
Yeah, very good night's racing. It's always good to see the kind of, almost I want to say fringe riders, but it's not quite. It's good to see some young Scots coming through as well. So it's a meeting that I always look forward to, and it was certainly quite, it was worth the wait tonight.
Yep. And another packed show as always. We'll hear from Scott Frame, who's obviously normally on this side of the camera on a Friday night. Scott was involved in the organising of the meeting, so he was putting his promoter's hat on for the night. We'll hear from Max Ruml, spoiler alert, the winner of the evening, and we'll see that final when Max came out victorious. So Stephen, first off, a very enjoyable night in the sunshine. We're both standing here in shorts. It's what, 9:45. Neither of us is shivering, although you're famously normally not one for the cold, so that shows how warm it is. But great to see some speedway in the sunshine and a bunch of guys that were out there trying their all.
If I could have picked a top three, that would have been it. I think Max winning it is the obvious choice. It's good to see Jordan Stewart doing so well as well. Somebody that I've known for a while now, and been quite excited about his career coming forward. And I think I predicted Nathan Greaves to do quite well as well. So yeah, brilliant.
You mentioned that there, didn't you, at the start, about the word used was fringe, and you didn't mean that in any disrespect, but you're right. We've got the young Scots trying to make their way, and let's be honest, not getting the opportunities they need at National League level and beyond. But then the rest of the field was made up with a few guys that are maybe trying to prove themselves at the championship level, and then a bunch of guys that have proven themselves in the past, but for whatever reason find themselves at a team. So you look at that lineup tonight, the likes of Cody Garcia, Nathan Greaves, Ellis Perks, all guys looking for a championship position. And with performances like tonight, if there's any promoters watching, they put themselves right back in the frame, and what was a pretty strong field overall. Absolutely.
Cody stood out. I actually thought, as well, leading up to the final, I thought he's going to do quite well. He was getting incredibly well.
Oh yeah, really.
As you've said as well, Ellis Perks has now found himself back at the British Speedway at Peterborough. And Greaves was mentioned.
I think he just lost his place at red card, didn't he? So he's doing Premiership only.
But I guess, as you say, if any promoters are watching, then certainly the advice would be have a look at Cody Garcia.
I think you're right. Cody, and he's such a lovely guy, but he can be a bit of a frustrating rider in that there's a rider in there, but the preparation that goes with it, he doesn't quite, and maybe through no fault of his own, through being at a team place and stuff, he doesn't have the setup required. So we had him in the team for a few weeks, and it only seems to take one engine failure or one mechanical issue, and that's all he's got. You know, there's a championship calibre rider in there, but is there the championship calibre set up to go alongside that?
If you look at the history of the teams that he's been in, I think he's never been really given that long at teams, so it's hard to kind of find your feet.
He's been one of those guys that's always been on an expendable average. Like, he's done his job, but if a team wants to improve, they can bring a 6-point man in for him, and that seems to be where he's been hit.
Exactly. If you cast your mind back to how Charles Wright was back those years ago when he was coming through, he was kind of like that as well, and then suddenly he just kind of found his way at Somerset and then kicked on from there. But I'm not comparing Cody Garcia and Charles Wright, but
there's a rider in there.
Undoubtedly, there's a rider in there. I remember watching the first time at Berwick.
Who is this kid?
Round Berwick. So
and that's what you're right. We'll talk a lot about Max Ruml and the Monarchs fans going home happy with the win. But if we look at the reason this meeting was introduced last season was to give the young Scottish guys a chance. For whatever reason, a couple of guys are no longer in the field. Where obviously Kev Whelan's now kind of focusing on his full-time profession outside the speedway. Luke Ruddock had to pull out for feeling unwell on the morning of the meeting. But you know, that's really valuable track time for the likes of Miller, Lewis Miller, Ryan McDonald, guys like that. That's really valuable track time for them in a competitive field, not just doing second halves.
I was quite impressed with Ryan tonight as well. Ryan and Dale.
Of course, Dale Lamb was the other one I didn't mention.
I mean, they came home in third and last place a couple of times, as you would probably expect in that field. But they were not too much off the pace. Certainly not where they would have been a year ago. So it's good to see them progressing forward. Obviously,
I think how you kind of tell that is when you look at the heat times, and you look at the time. There was one race where they were all together. Look at heat 3. And it was only 1.5 seconds or so off the likes of Cody Garcia, Max Ruml, that kind of pace, and that's the kind of stuff that's invaluable, because you're not going to get that doing a second half against the same guys week on week on week.
Absolutely. There's that determination keep up and compete as well. Even might not necessarily be winning or being honest, have any chance of winning the heat, especially against riders like we mentioned yet, Tom Baker as well, who's doing really well at Peterborough. So
yeah, and you're right, and that's the thing. It's a barometer for them. It gives them a wee bit of a test outside of the the Northern Junior League that it's called, and these are guys. It's such a shame there's not a National League level team up here where they can be riding competitive speedway week on week against guys at the same level, but going to different tracks, needing to do different setups, needing to learn. Because I mean, I've never jumped on a speedway bike, but I can't imagine you're going to learn much doing your 1000th lap round here on a Friday night, and that's about getting them in there.
On your own as well.
Of course, on your own, or with the same guys every week, where you're beating them every week, so you're not learning anything by beating them every week. But if we go back towards the top end, and you mentioned some of the guys that were in there, from a Monarchs fan's point of view, great to see Max Ruml, meeting winner at the top of the podium.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, on the 2 days after Independence Day, well, you couldn't have scripted that. It's good. We built the team at the start of the season, as I said in one of the previous shows. We built a team that was going to progress, and I know Joel wasn't in the meeting tonight, but seeing Joel progressing the way he's progressing, and now you think Max as well after tonight. Max had a good weekend, especially at Red Cart, and his score did not reflect his riding. He contributed to that, but he rode well. He was well in the mix, and I mentioned coming of age in the midweek show, and I think we're seeing that. I think we're seeing that with this team.
It is, you're right, there's, if anything, and it sounds silly, we'll hear from Max in a little bit and I ask him, the question is how well he started the season maybe actually built up false expectations. So when he had what was probably an inevitable dip, or where maybe we thought he would start the season at, where he was struggling a little bit, there was almost a, well, what's happened? Why is he not getting the 3s and 4s he was getting at the start? But we've seen it last week. Obviously I wasn't here, just back from holiday, I'm still in holiday attire. I believe it was, off the top of my head, was it 5 or 6 he got last week? There was definitely a heat win, if not a cup on there on the Friday night. And then tonight to come in the field, and as we've mentioned, it's okay, he's not racing against your Chris Harris, Richie Worrell, Scott Nichols, but he's beaten guys tonight that are the kind of guys we want him to beat every week. As long as he beats the other team's reserves and takes the second string scalp, he's doing his job, and that's what he done tonight. And if he takes that on into, obviously we've got tomorrow, I guess, when you're watching this on Saturday at Scunthorpe, and then next week at home to Ipswich, it's a solid looking outfit. And I think from my point of view, if we put a Monarchs hat on for getting tonight's meeting, there was nothing wrong with how the guys were performing. They were maybe just being asked to do jobs they weren't quite ready for. I think the signing of Victor balances the side up a little bit. Yeah, we could maybe still do with, and this is no offence to any of the guys, but a recognised third heat leader to take the pressure off the guys like Mark and Josh and let them progress at their own pace. But now that we've got Joe and Max at reserve, we're in the semi-final of the Cup. We've only ridden 2 home league matches, so it looks like we're towards the bottom of the league. But if we put 5 or 6 home unbeaten league matches at home, we're right back in that playoff place, and the season starts looking like there's something in it. Yeah, I'm going to slightly disagree with you there. Obviously, Josh moving to that heat leader position, it's almost forced him on, and I know from speaking to him that it's a position that he absolutely relishes, and he feels that that's where he wants to be. And he feels that he has to contribute. So that has pushed him on much further. I think you mentioned about Max as well. The way that he started the season, he started really well. You're right. You're absolutely right. Obviously, people progress at different rates. I'm not making any rash comparisons, but look at Doyley. Doyley took. He was at that elite. Premier League level for as long as he was, and suddenly he hits 30, and now he's world number 1. He's the world, exactly. So Max it's maybe it's difficult for Max to see the way that or how quickly Joe progressed. So, but there's undoubtedly a very good rider there. He's shown it tonight. You'll see that the final heat, and that, by the way, is how he was throughout the whole meeting. He was tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So we mentioned that there. Well, actually, we'll cut away a little bit and we'll go back to tonight. And what we'll do, sorry, I'm swatting here. We've got the midges are coming out and forced to join us. We're now going to hear from Scott Frame. Obviously, Scott normally joins us here on EMTV. We all know his role as commercial manager of the Stags Bar Monarchs. So, hey, if you've got any sponsorship opportunities, you'll find his details online. But Scott, he's the one that puts this night together, and we spoke to Scott after the meeting. So, joined here on the Friday Focus by a familiar face, different side of the camera for you this week, Scott. Caledonian Riders Championship, obviously that's your baby, you started it last year, second run in tonight. Happy with how it turned out?
Happy how it went on track. There was a few things off the track that could have went better, and of course to anybody that did get caught up in that, I apologise on this, and of course I apologise in person as well. But on track, thought it was a decent standard meeting. Obviously we've got guys that are we've got Nathan Greaves who's riding Premiership Speedway here, but he's still a young star involved in the World Under 21s and stuff. So from that end it was a higher quality meeting than what it was last year. I felt it was a better standard, but when you've got guys like I thought Cody done himself a lot of pride tonight. In his time in the Monarchs we probably didn't see the best of him, but I thought tonight we definitely seen the best of him, and I think this is probably the best meeting Max Ruml's had around Armadale, if I'm being totally honest.
I think obviously you put the field together, and it was a field to give guys a chance to shine. You know, your guys like you say, Nathan Greaves, who had a shot in the championship, I believe, with Red Car, that might be up. Ellis Perks at Peterborough. You know, some of these guys, if there's promoters out there looking, they can go, well, wait a minute, we can trust these guys in a field that was full of championship second string stroke reserves, and the guys that got 10, 11 points, promoters will be looking for them when the team changes come in.
Well, I think even you mentioned that, I mean, Ellis and Nathan are both on the lookout for championship spots at the minute, and again probably did themselves proud, especially for Ellis' point of view, he's probably never went the best around Armadale anyway. But even at the lower end, even like guys like the guys down the kind of lower end of the field, it's a chance for them to kind of get like National League promoters that they're here, they're willing and able to score points and stuff. And I think it was a field full of kind of people that had either a point to prove or were here to learn, which is exactly what this Caledonian Riders Championship's all about. It's all about people that are willing to come here, willing to learn how to ride a track like this against riders that have similar standard. And I think we got a good meeting, probably not the best meeting we've ever had, but we got a good meeting, and I think that's what it was all about. And
then taking your sort of meeting promoters hat on, putting your Monarchs hat on, great to see the only Monarch in the field, Max Ruml, end up as the winner.
Absolutely. As I say, I thought it done him a lot of good, and as I say, it was, for me, it was the best I've seen him ride round here. He looked very confident when he was making starts. There was just something about him all night. He had that aura as if this is my house, nobody's coming into my house, you know, the old kind of American kind of sayings. But he definitely had that aura about him, as if I don't want to give this up. And he showed bottle in the final. Let's not kid on. I mean, Cody only dropped a point all night. Nathan, as we said, is a good rider. Jordan proved all through the night that he's capable of making starts and getting out there. So he did show a lot of bottle to come out and win that in the last heat. I'd have preferred the final to be closer like last year, but Max thoroughly deserved winner, with a tip to my hat to Cody. But all in all, I'm happy with how the night went on the track anyway.
Well done again for putting a kite night on, Scott. I'm sure you'll be happy to go in the bar and enjoy a wee one, and we'll see you back on your normal side of the camera next Friday.
Definitely, thank you.
So we thank Scott for talking to us there. I'm sure he's enjoying a well-earned rest after a stressful night, and I suppose it just shows that, you know, the guys like John and Alec that put these meetings on week after week, and Graham and Gordon and everyone that's involved, they put these meetings on week after week, season after season. It's no mean feat. There's
so much goes on in the background. I don't know how long I've been a mechanic, a good few years anyway, but there's so many people that I've never been taken on this role, and there's so many people that I've never seen. Like Bill Parnell, I've never seen him in my life. I've heard his voice umpteen times as a fan and as a mechanic, but as you said, Graham in the box, Gordon on the track as well. There's so much goes on behind the scenes that people.
And it just shows how much it's, you know, how much goes into putting a speedway meetings on. Unbelievable. So we mentioned earlier on our winner, Monarchs number 7, I believe, in the 1 to 7 just now, Max Ruml. Great to see a home winner. And we spoke to Max. Right after the meeting, and I think he was pretty delighted. You know, we had a wee chat with him off camera before we got him on, and he was buzzing with that. And here's what he has to say. And also, what we'll do after that, we'll roll straight into normally it's the heat of the week. In any individual match, I always think the final should be the heat you see. So we'll roll straight into that after as well. Joined by the winner of the Caledonian Riders Championship, Max Ruml. Max, you've got to be delighted with that. This is We spoke to Scott a minute ago. He says this is your house and you defended it tonight.
Oh, definitely. It was in the beginning, it was a bit of a tougher meeting. I thought on paper it was going to be a bit more of a struggle, and after the first heat, it seemed like it may have been. But in the end, I put myself together and made a couple good starts and just kept moving forward. So it ended up being a really good night.
And obviously, we've seen it last week against Berwick. You've dropped down to reserve with a few of the team changes and stuff, a few heat wins there, a night like tonight. You must be starting to build confidence and get back into where you were at the start of the season.
Yeah, definitely. It was it was a good start, I believe. I came out in the first couple of nights of racing here, and I did really well, I thought. But as it went on, I feel everybody kind of started getting more comfortable and everybody kind of settling in, and that kind of it didn't really rattle me, but in a sense, I started realizing, it's not every race is won, but and a meeting like this is a big boost in confidence, and I hope to just move forward from here.
And I believe obviously you had a little bit of help for the guys back home, a new engine a couple of weeks ago from the guys back there. Has that helped as well? Do you feel your machinery's where it needs to be at this stage of the season?
Definitely. I mean, in a sense, you could always use more, and you could always succeed a little bit more with anything that you have. I did get a new motor. I actually bought it off our number one, Ricky. But it was that's what I rode tonight, and it was making starts all night, and it felt a little flat towards the end there, so I think it's ready to go in for a service. But no, it's I'm super confident with what I have. I just need to keep moving forward and keep progressing with setups and keep listening to King and Ricky and see what we can get sorted.
And obviously we spoke a few times over the season, and you always said it was your dream to come over in Europe and race, and now you're standing with a trophy in your hand. How good does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, growing up as kids back in the United States, it's a bit of a cool feeling, when you come over here and you race in the British League. It's something that you see all over the place back home. It's the next step in moving forward, and you got the likes of Brock Nickel, Luke Becker, who's kind of traveling all over right now, and I believe he still has aspirations to come over in next year. You have Gino Manzarez, you have Ricky. He's a little bit of everything, I'd say, nationality wise, but it's at heart he's an American, and that's what he puts the stars and stripes over his chest. So it's like it's a big goal and a big aspiration to come over here. My little brother, he has big goals to come over here as well. So just keep moving forward. And a night like tonight, it was definitely a cool feeling, so I'm super stoked and just to move forward from here.
And if it comes the same week as Independence Day back home, so I know a few of your friends and family watch these things back home. You got any messages for them?
Just keep on watching. I'm getting better and better every night, just learning a little bit more and more, and just got to keep moving forward. It is a struggle. It's not easy to come over from where I was, but in the same sense, it's a lifelong dream and a goal that I did. So it's keep working at the overall goals and keep moving forward.
Perfect. Well done tonight, Max. Congratulations on that trophy.
Thank you.
This is it then, the winner takes all final for the Caledonian Riders Championship. Nathan Greaves on the inside, he pushed the 2 minutes to virtually its limit. Coti Garcia's in gate 2, Jordan Stewart gate 3, we're waiting for Coti to get settled. Jordan Stewart's in gate 3 and Max Ruml's in gate 4. They put quite a bit of water down after the second semi, so I hope that doesn't upset the riders. Nathan Greaves has gated. Max Ruml is on the outside line, and a beautiful swoop round the outside takes him to the front. He has looked the most impressive rider over the latter stages. Coti didn't make the start that time. First one he's missed really, and Max Ruml seems to have it in his grasp now if nothing goes wrong. The water on the track hasn't affected things so far, and I think a lot of Marks fans had this meeting as a target for Max. We feel he can do better than he's been doing in the recent championship matches, and tonight he really looks the part. It's got to give him confidence. He's had a look back, he's seen that he's well clear, and he's come home comfortably the winner of the Caledonian Riders Championship. He'll be absolutely delighted. Nathan Greaves was second, Jordan Stewart was third, and Coti Garcia, always good to watch, brings up the rear in the final. That's it then, Max Ruml the winner.
you mentioned earlier on that final, that was the lively performance Max put on all night. I think maybe his first race cut him out a wee bit.
Yep.
I get a third after that, but after that, first place all the way through, and gating sharply, dominating the first and second bend, and never troubled from there.
He mentioned that he had he felt his engine wasn't quite up to pace in the final, but he won it by a street against some riders that had been performing well. Interesting to note that his back-to-back Maxes on the
only two Maxes, two years of the trophy.
Both won at number 7 at that point as well. So maybe we'll sign Max Frick next season.
Would we fit him at number 7?
Well, hopefully. We'll see how it goes.
So you mentioned that, so great for the home fans, and I suppose, you know, if I look at it from my side and think to myself, obviously I'm a fan first, but that's mission accomplished now. You put a field like this together, it's great, pressure's off, it's not a team meeting, there's no league points, etc. Kind of, I suppose, like the Scottish Open in a way, but when you get that home man on the top of the podium, it just puts a nice end to the night.
It's a cherry on top.
Yeah,
it's absolutely a cherry on top. It's what everyone wanted when they were coming here tonight. They wanted you want a Monarchs winner.
Yeah.
As I said, winning becomes a habit.
Yeah.
So let's kick that on.
That's it. And we kick on, and we've got, you know, a big chunk of meetings ahead. That's kind of obviously we've got the Cardiff weekend coming up in a fortnight. That's a bit of a break for British Speedway. Yep. But actually, as we mentioned earlier on in the show, we're really far behind on the league meetings race, particularly at home. I think it's 2 home league matches. So the fact that Joe seems to be dialed in, Max is getting dialed in. Obviously Victor should be more comfortable on his own machinery the next time, and we've all seen what he did the last time he was here with Newcastle, when I think he was unbeaten going into Heat 15. If we can make this place a fortress again, then that gives us a really good springboard the rest of the way.
I think it's on its way.
Yeah.
I think, as you mentioned Victor there, earlier on you mentioned that he's brings a better balance to the team. It absolutely does. Him coming in as well has almost brought a whole new personality out of Joel, having one of his friends here. So
good things come. So obviously you'll be watching this, I guess, on Saturday morning. The Monarchs head to Scunthorpe on Sunday. We'll see how we get on there. Hopefully a tough place to go, particularly when I've not actually looked to see who Scunthorpe's guest is. They can pretty much pick almost anyone in the league. I think actually outside our own Ricky Wells, but he'd be riding for us anyway.
Yep.
So that's fine. And then a big test next Friday. Ipswich come a call on your Roarish line. I guess at time I was recording this, the makeup of that team will be a lot unsure. Obviously Danny King's still injured. I believe Cameron Heaps maybe took a sore one at Sheffield last night, so we wish these guys all the best. But a team that is full of guys that can ride Armadale. So another tough, and the big matches are starting to come now. You know, we've got Ipswich to come, we've got Lakeside to come here, we've got Glasgow to come here. It's time for this team just to take that step up and show what we're made of.
Yeah, definitely. I think there might be another guest in for Danny Hume.
Of course, he took a knock. He was meant to be here tonight and took a knock, of course. So we'll see what that team lines up at.
I'm sure it'll be someone along the lines of Cotty. Especially after that performance tonight. Actually, don't use it. Use Cotty.
I think you're okay as long as you don't sign him. You can't guess if he's unattached, so we might be okay with that.
All right, okay, that's fine.
But yeah, so it's going to be another big one. Keep an eye out for social media during the week. We'll have a normal preview show, but the midges are really coming in force now. Stephen's been working all night. I'm just back for holiday. I think it's time for a wee beverage in the bar.
Let's have a beer.
Thanks very much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Good night.